Dee Jensen, one of our Hall of Famers, told me it was kind of windy last year, so I'll try to be brief. A lot of respect for Dee, and
I'd like to see that happen.
Like my wife. This is a blessing and an honor. I was able to get up here last year and talk about David Urbis as he was inducted, and now we get to induct one of his teammates in Jared Keaveny. Jared has 2 daughters and his family here, just wonderful supporters. And instead of going into his family, I'll let Jared introduce them if he wants to. But Joe, his dad, coached my son, and I had the opportunity to coach his son. And it was awesome. And tonight is a great night. We talked about the 5 C's of success when I coached, and I want you all to know I'm going to talk a little bit, not only about Jared and his playing days, but he also came back pretty special, and he was an assistant coach for me in the 04-05 team. I'm not bragging here, but I'm pretty proud of those 2 years because they're probably 2 of the best teams that I've ever been at North Dakota State College of Science.
Woo!
Jared has 5 of his teammates sitting back here. I think that says a lot. That team won the Mondac Championship, the Region 13 Championship, and if you folks remember, they finished the year 31-2. The chance to go to Hutchinson, Kansas was a dream of all of ours. We had to play the number 1 ranked team in America, Schoolcraft, out of Detroit, Michigan. They were undefeated. We were 31-1. And we battled them in front of a packed house at the Blicker Activity Center. We had to haul in bleachers on each end of the court. And I have that picture. And it's pretty special, the support that we had in the community. And I'm getting off of my notes here, but it really excites me to think that a young man like Jared with hometown roots, that young man back there that's in the Hall of Fame as well, from Richland Colfax 44 School District, Sean Gabbard from Dickinson, North Dakota, Pat Miller from Kenmare, North Dakota, Ben Foltz from Detroit Lakes, Minnesota, and then Joe Keaveny, or Joe Buchers from the cities. Very, very close-knit group. If you remember that team, we went 5 in, 5 out. It was a selfless bunch of young men, and I have to talk about that team before I talk about Jared, because Jared would want that. That was what was special about that team. They didn't care about their individual successes. We were able, it was my 2nd year, and that summer I had some Canadian ties, and we were able to bring in 2 players off the Canadian junior national team. Bruce Dunham, J.R. Patrick, both went on to play Division I basketball. J.R. had a 7-year professional career. He was an All-American. He'll be in the Hall of Fame someday. Tremendous talent. Talent makes good coaches. And we went 5 in, 5 out. They knew that, hey, we're not going to play but half a game. And a lot of times they didn't play half the game because we were plus 32 on the season, which is a school record. Our average margin of victory was 32 points. And Jared was a leader on that team, and they broke 16 school records, and a lot of those still stand. How about Jared? Because we talk about the 5 C's of success, now we have to celebrate. And we need to celebrate Jared. And he started out in playing for Tom Oswald. I didn't recruit Jared out of Wahpeton High School. I wasn't the head coach. And he played an average, that worked his way into the starting lineup, averaged about 14 points a game, I think. I have it written down here. 13 points and 5 rebounds as a freshman. Got himself in the starting lineup. And then he went to UND to play baseball. He was a dual sport athlete. And I have to give a lot of credit to his recruitment to a buddy of mine, the late, great Gary Rogers. Gary was good friends with the Keaveny family, and he said, hey, Coach, I got a good tip for you. There's a guy, he's a heck of a player. He's the all-time leading scorer at Wahpeton High School. He's a local boy, and I think he wants to come home. Didn't take me long to make a phone call and get his phone number. And boy, I tell you, it's amazing to get him back. He averaged 13.8 points per game. He had 84 threes in that record-breaking season. And he was our go-to shooter. And you have a guy that still holds the record for assists from Calgary, Alberta, Bruce Dunham, still holds the school record for season assists. Bruce owes a lot of that record to you because he'd penetrate and kick out, and Jared was a knockdown. He was a maker. There's a difference. Anybody could be a shooter. It takes a lot of work to be a maker. And Jared was a maker. Selfless was the best description of that team. I mentioned that he was the all-time leading scorer at Wahpeton High School. My son broke his record. Jared worked my son out, knowing that he potentially could break his record, and spent a lot of time in the gym with my son. He babysat my kids. He's a friend. I love him. And he deserves this honor. He's currently the head coach at Lakeview in Cottonwood, Minnesota. So it's kind of fun to have a coaching tree underneath and watching the successes of people that played for you and people that were assistants for you. And I have to tell one quick story of a game that we played when Jared was that sophomore. He had 37 points in a convincing 128-85 win over Fergus Falls Community College. Tanya made the right choice by coming to science. My first year here, we got beat twice by Fergus Falls. And I remember on the golf course, because I had a house on the golf course, all my buddies, well, are you going to let Retzlaff whoop you next year again? I didn't realize. I said, guys, it's not even a conference game. I didn't think it was that big a game. I didn't realize it was that big a rivalry either. And I'm telling you what, it was no match the two times that we played it in the second year. And in that game, like I said, Jared had 37 points. I went to my mailbox on the way to my office about 4 days later, and I had a letter from Coach Retzlaff. Oh, man, did we ring it up on him? You know, I think Tulsi came off the bench and had like 6 threes that night or something. You know, it's just crazy. We were so talented. And I opened the letter, and this is a lot about the character of Coach Retzlaff, and I want to share this story because Coach Retzlaff coached Jared's dad, Joe Keaveny. And it was a congratulatory letter. He said, Coach, that's the best team I've ever seen at Science. Credit to you. You're doing a great job with them, blah, blah, blah. And I just think that's a story that needs to be told because Joe learned a lot of things from Coach Retzlaff. I hope you learned a couple things from me. You hear and listen both, right? But I know Jared's a great coach, and I hear great things about him and his career. I have to read something. I reached out to some of his teammates. Bruce Dunham sent an email from Calgary, Alberta. This exemplifies this group of young men. Folks, I'm not on that committee, but this team needs to be on the Hall of Fame. I'm just going to say it again. I politicked last year. I'm going to politic again. My name is Bruce Dunham. I had the opportunity to spend one of the greatest years of my life as a member of the 01-02 Wildcats. Canadian kid coming to play at one of the top junior college programs in the United States. I was excited, but I was incredibly nervous. Coach Irwin immediately came to see me. He said, get your shoes, Jared Keaveny is excited to meet you. I'm going to jump around because I'm going to give this letter to you, Jared. I'm not reading the whole thing, but what if I told you off the floor Jared Keaveny was even more important to our team? Jared was the glue. Jared got everyone together. Never forget the time Pat Miller and Jared Keaveny said, get ready, we're taking the team to a street party. Now that was a time, nothing like a North Dakota street party. Street dance, I think we were Canadians. Hey, go to the rave party, eh? The whole team showed up to this and many other parties. No question this played a huge role in the success we had on the court. And Yoni talked about this. You know, the group of people that are back here for Coach Beagle. Jackie, I want to say congratulations to you and Tanya. You were two tremendous athletes. Coach Beagle, I love you, man. I'm happy for you and you folks being inducted. And, you know, that's what Yoni said. You know, that's what this weekend is so great. to get a chance now to spend some time with these young men and with Jared and his family, it's wonderful. Couple more quick stories when he was coaching. That team that he was assistant on placed higher than any team in science history. We won 3 games. We lost our first game in overtime, and we went on, and at that time there were 24 teams in the national tournament, and it was in Hutchinson, Kansas. We came through the back door and we won 3 games, and we ended up 7th in the country. We're the only team to win 3 games at the national tournament in school history, and it's the highest placing in school history. So you think he has something to do with success here and is deserving of this, not only as a player, but also as a coach? Wonderful young man. I'm looking out here, and before I get off the stage, I want to say, Dr. Flanagan, great hire back here. This guy, Mr. Jackson, was my boss at Shanley. He took me out for lunch and he offered me the head job at Shanley High School, and I took advantage of that, and I want to thank you publicly. It was a great year, you were a great boss, and you are going to do great things here for science athletics. He's a wonderful person, people. I have to say that before I get off. Real quick, one other story here, when Jared was an assistant. Real quick, sorry. Dee, I apologize. This is a good one though. So we would, we were all 21, and we had bed checks, but we would go down and watch an NBA game, and we were in Williston, and we got out there early, we'd go out for dinner and put the team down, we'd go down and we might have a beverage and sit in the lounge, and we were in the lounge in the motel. And we had, I think even Coach Olson came up from Williston. I didn't really like him that much, but we were pretty good friends. We were competitive friends. And, just sitting around with boosters and stuff and sitting and visiting. Well, they shut, but it wasn't 2 o'clock in the morning because they shut motel bars and lounges down early. So it's like 11 o'clock at night. We're going back to our rooms, and, we had tight budgets. GR would sleep in our room. I'd have a queen bed. He'd have a queen bed. And Jared would sleep on the couch or maybe even on the floor. Tight budgets. And we get back to the room, and I said, GR, where's Skip at? Geez, I don't know. I said, well, where the heck did he go? I want to get to bed here. Well, I don't know where he is. Pretty soon the phone rings in the motel room. I go over and answer. Coach, I'm locked in the bar. Apparently the gal that was working the bar had a date or something, and she went out as soon as our table left, and she went over and locked all the doors, and he couldn't get out. We had to call the front desk and have him go out and let Jared out of the bar. He went into the bathroom, and he was in the bathroom while they were closing up, so I had to share that story. Young man, I love you. And I'm happy for you and your family, and I'm happy for Wildcat Nation. Congratulations to all of you inducted tonight. This is a special place, and this is a special young man. Come on up, I gotta give you up.
Woo! Caveman! It's raining!
Yeah, so Coach Irwin did mention that I did babysit his kids when I first came back, but he didn't realize that all of us were trying to babysit his kids because we all wanted to play. We all knew that was a quick play. Get in with the kids, and they would tell you, hey, Jared's my favorite player. You knew you were going to get on the floor. So we had to play that angle any way possible, and which is what we did. And, Coach Irwin, I want to thank you for one of those wonderful words. You were always someone who could make us believe we could do anything. And that was a major part of that team. You were always just pushing us and finding ways to get us to do more. Sometimes it was a little bit more than we could do, and we knew that. For example, we're playing out in Miles City. We're going through a scouting report, and I played with a lot of athletic teammates who could jump a lot better than I could. I was not known for jumping. And we're running the scout play, and it's going to be coming to my guy, and he goes, Jared, you're going to get this deal. You're going to go down there and you're going to get a dunk in front of their crowd and quiet them down. And everybody on the team looked at me like, Jared? He's not dunking it. Like, maybe he's touching the glass on a layup, but he's not dunking it. So, and that was one thing. Congratulations also to the other inductees. Jackie was also here when I was a sophomore. She was a freshman. And we had something in common. I love what you said. Shooters got to shoot. You got to shoot. You got to keep shooting. And Coach Irwin always made you believe. One thing we didn't have in common was I didn't like to play defense. I was forced to. I was made to. So if I wanted to play, I had to do that. So also want to talk about, I had a kind of how I came to NDSCS. Yoni was saying some words about what it means to be a Wildcat. And I grew up in Washington, and I saw football games, basketball games, even went to some cross country and track and field just because I wanted to see it. And you knew you always wanted to be a part of it. And whether this was going to be my stop, but I also knew I wanted to play baseball. And maybe it was fate. We ended up getting upset my senior year at Washington in '99. And I remember coming home after that and thinking for a while, and I said, at that point I was all baseball, and I said, I can't let basketball end like that. It can't be done. And I called my freshman coach, Coach Oswald, and told him I want to come to NDSCS. And that's how my journey started there. And he was very, very instrumental. I struggled to start my freshman year, and he wouldn't quit on me. I was almost to the point where I was just going to be on the bench not playing, and he just said, stick with it, keep working hard, and it just clicked, and I kind of cracked the starting lineup, and I just kind of got rolling, and if I wouldn't be here without Coach Oswald pushing me and believing in me my freshman year. And just like, then you get to Coach Irwin, who challenges you daily and makes you believe what you can do is just higher and higher than what you ever could have imagined. And he was he saw how special that was. And Coach Irwin, you did not share this story, but I'm going to. We were a very experienced team. A lot of sophomores, we knew what it took to be pretty good. But like any team, you kind of have lacks in effort. And so Coach Irwin decides to use some colorful language to motivate us. And he tells us to get our rear ends on the sideline and do some sprints. So we run, nothing out of normal. College athletes, we've heard that. So we run, and usually we do one and get back. And nope, that wasn't enough. We ran another one. Well, then some guys didn't make it, and Coach Irwin was about ready to explode. And now he's just giving us the business, and he's walking towards the sideline and talking about how he's got bad knees and he's old and out of shape, but he's going to beat all of us in a sprint. And we're thinking that, okay, yeah, you're yelling at us. And without us knowing, he gets on, as soon as his foot touches the line, he says, ready, go. And he takes off. And he races a bunch of 19, 20, 21-year-olds in a sprint up and down the court. And for 20 years, Coach, we've laughed about this, we've joked about it. I said you cheated. I'll say it here in front of everybody, you beat us fair and square.
We did teach you something. To be honest.
Have another, Jared.
So, anyway, just to kind of finish out here, what it means to be a Wildcat. As I was growing up, like I said, I watched so many great players that I became friends with that were playing before I got a chance to play. Damian Troop was a player that played from 95, 97. He's a great friend to me now, and he loves his campus, loves his school. He was inspiring to me, and I saw him play at such a high level, and I remember thinking, that's what I want to do. I want to play sports on a high level, but when you come here, you don't realize what you're going to leave with. Everyone thinks, I'm going to come here, I'm going to play sports, I'm going to do this and accomplish this, but the friendships, the relationships you leave with are the most important thing. And those 5 guys who showed up today mean the absolute world to me. I love you guys, and without you guys, this isn't happening. So thank you so much for surprising me. I love you guys. Thank you.
Woo!
Big thank yous here. My youngest daughter Allie is here. Coach Frisco. work on that, get a scholarship on that one. My wonderful girlfriend Denise, my niece and nephew Stefan. Stefan, if you were around, he was about this big when we were sophomores. He was just born. He was at every home game that we were at. Mom, you were always such an amazing supporter. No matter what I wanted to try, you were always there. Dad, Mom, come back to you. We're going to talk about my brothers. Anthony wasn't here, but he was a few years younger, so he would always be there supporting, send me his well wishes today. My oldest daughter Bella is playing golf in college. She's not here, but she sent me a text this morning as well. And then my older brother Joey, who is right here, 2 years older, where we were to be competitive against each other. Baseball, basketball, track, pro wrestling.
Math?
If you want to hear the more stories, just ask Mom and Dad.
Science?
Always ended up with a brotherly hug. And good congratulations on a great match and never any arguments or fighting. And Dad, lastly, you helped me find my love of the game. Opening the gym, how many times? You called yourself the best rebounder in North Dakota for many, many years, and I can't thank you enough for all the countless hours that you spent out of the house, tired I'm sure, but continuing to help me live my dream and be able to stand here today. Thank you everyone. Go Cats.
Good buddy.